So thank you everyone for coming to the Snohomish County Food and Farming Center Advisory Committee meeting number 1. If that's what you are here for, you've made it to the right spot, and we really appreciate you taking some time out on this Thursday evening to spend some time with us and give us some feedback on the project. Quick notes on the agenda here. So we're going to start out with some team introductions. And we'd like to get some introductions for who all is here in the meeting. We're going to do a quick 10-minute project overview to describe where we are in the process, a little bit about what the Food and Farming Center is for anyone who's not familiar with it. And then we're going to hand it over to our consultant team who's here on the call to do a more detailed presentation about the current Food and Farming Center design and program. And then the majority of our meeting tonight is going to be a discussion. It'll take about an hour and 10 minutes. Everyone here is going to be put into separate breakout rooms for a more in-depth discussion with the team. And then we will quickly close it out just before 8 p.m. and we'll get everybody out of here right on time at 8. And so before I hand this over to Linda, I've got a couple of quick housekeeping notes to go over. So we are recording this meeting, and during the meeting, we'll just ask for all the participants to stay on mute. So if you look at the bottom left of your screen, there's a little microphone icon. Just make sure that's on mute during the presentation. But we will ask you to put some comments in the chat. So feel free to ask questions in the chat. Somebody's going to be monitoring that and we'll answer that along the way. So look for the 2 little chat bubbles kind of bottom center of your screen so that you can put info in there. And then during the discussion portion of the meeting, we'll ask you to come off of mute so that you can participate in the discussion. And so for anyone who's watching this after November 21st, if you're watching the recording, you would have access to this recording on the Food and Farming Center webpage. On that very same webpage, there's going to be all of the presentation slides. So if you just advance through the slides to slides 25 through 31, that's where all the discussion questions are. If you would like to reach out and have a more in-depth discussion with us after the fact, just email me at rachel.dotson@snoco.org. I'll work with you to set up a time to have a more in-depth discussion with our team. And the most important item on this slide is the QR code to our online survey. So the link here to our online survey and the QR code will take you to the survey. We're looking for feedback on aggregation, distribution, processing, all the different components of the Food and Farming Center, so that we can make sure to capture your input in how this design progresses. So please take that survey. We're gonna close it towards the end of the day on December 4th, so we can collect all that feedback. And with that, I'm gonna hand this over to Linda.
Thank you, Rachel. Hi, everybody. I'm Linda Nudzig. I'm the Division Manager for the Agriculture Department for Snohomish County. And I'm really happy that everybody's able to come because this is a project that has been so long in coming. We'll talk about that a little bit more, but we'll go through the introductions of our team and then we'll have everybody that's online. So I'll turn it over to Rachel.
Yep, and I'm Rachel Dotson. I am with Snohomish County and I'm the project manager for this project.
Hi, everyone. I'm Aliana Condilas. I am supporting Snohomish County on the project with Hill International. I'm focusing on the operator agreements.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Jobs from Miller Hull. We're the architects on the project, and I'm the design lead on our team.
Hey, everyone. I'm Jeffrey Moss from Urban Patterns, and Urban Patterns is on the team as the food system subject matter expert. We'll get into what that means a little bit later.
And hi, everyone. My name is Dana Johnson. I'm with GLY Construction. I'm the Progressive Design Build Senior PM for the contractor. So thanks for having me. Sorry, we're dealing with outages, so limited on the tech tonight. Thanks.
Hi, everyone. I'm Claire Runhack, Project Manager with Architect Miller Hull.
Hey there, I'm Stacy Schul, Hill International Project Manager and Design Build Advisor.
Hi, everyone. This is Ben Gates, partner at Urban Patterns, and it's great to be here with everybody today.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jody Hansen with Urban Patterns, partner there and part of the team, the food infrastructure subject matter expert.
Thank you. Well, now you've seen who our team is. We've amassed a wonderful team. We'd like to hear about each of you as well. So I can't see exactly where everybody is, but if you want to go ahead and hop in, someone's always got to be first. So go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hey, Linda, do we want to maybe have people put that info in the chat? I think we probably have a lot of people on the call. So if you want to just put in the chat, I can't see the chat. So Claire, you might have to jump in and make sure this is working okay. If you can put in the chat what your main interest is in the Food and Farming Center, if it's distribution, commercial kitchen, processing, farmers market, or if you're just here for general updates, that is okay too. And if you are so inclined, answer some of these other questions in the chat.
Well, good afternoon. This is Joe Fletcher. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, just real quick. It says I'm from Parkalytics. That's part of our assessment team from Project Kiwi. Linda, we met because I also do a lot of volunteering work upstream at Snoqualmie Valley Preservation Alliance. So our interest is related at the SVPA is related to flood management on farmers areas, well, all the stakeholders in the valley, and invasive species assessments and so forth. So anyway, I'm excited about this hub and technology areas that you have, and I'll leave it at that.
Linda, you're on mute.
There we go. We're getting some of them coming through on the chat, so that's great. We can probably go ahead and move to the next slide while everybody's filling in their information. So the project overview, and I can see a lot of you that are on here are already pretty familiar with what we're doing. It's a project that we've had at Snohomish County for many, many years, and it all stems from request from regionally from the farmers. And it is a lack of food processing. If you've got, let's see, here's your tomatoes on here. If you want your tomatoes to be washed and packaged up, they would come through here. You see the apples there. Maybe you want those to be sliced and diced and packaged up to go to the school district. That's what it could do here. The other thing is, as farmers, we're all on the road delivering our product. So if we could aggregate it all in one spot and send it all out together, we reduce the number of trucks on the road. But as farmers, it also gets us back on the farm where we have things to do. Next slide, please. The second aspect that's been requested over and over again is a commercial kitchen. Let's say you raise strawberries and you want to be able to sell strawberry jam, strawberry tarts, and you're too big for the cottage food laws, or like me, you could have your dogs in the house and your cats in the house. So it doesn't really work to be able to do it that way. And you need some place to be able to make those items. And maybe you want to make them in a larger quantity. The commercial kitchen would offer that. If you want to come in and start experimenting with, I have this great recipe, I want to give it a try and see if it's something that I could sell at the farmer's market. We want it to be an incubator that helps new farmers grow, become something new. It's chefs coming in and saying, I have an idea for one of my favorite recipes that I want to be able to make and sell. Maybe it's a food truck. There's a lot of different options for the commercial kitchen. And the third piece, next slide, it's the year-round indoor farmers market. We've had a lot of requests for it, mainly because we don't have one. There's a few of them. You can go to Bellingham. It's not open every weekend in the off season, but it is open periodically. You've got Olympia, that's quite a ways to go, but where's our indoor market in between? And that's really what we need. if you had the opportunity to sell year round, what are the chances for you to grow more product? What are the chances that you could put more land in production? If you're not just growing in a window, let's say it's your strawberries, if you're just growing in that window, what else could you do? How could you expand your production, which in turn allows you to bring in money, money that can pay for employees, that can pay for crops, all of the things that you need to have. And doing it in a year-round setting would definitely be beneficial. Next slide, please. And this is how we've got it all lined up here. So the community liaison would be me. Snohomish County will be the owner of the entire facility and the leasee. If we have the right entity to come in and say, you know what, I love running farmers markets. I want to be the one that leases the facility for a farmers market to happen. And, maybe it's the aggregation, distribution, processing area, or it's the commercial kitchen area. Each one of those is their own skill set. The plan has always been that these are turnkey leases that go out to somebody. And we're not doing it all in a bubble. We've also got an advisory committee. So we have minority representatives. We've got the Agriculture Advisory Board, and we have the Snohomish County Farm Bureau, who's been a great partner in making all this happen. Next slide. Okay, and then I will turn it over. My slides are done.
Hi, everyone. We're going to talk a little bit about, so we've heard a little bit about the project and all the different pieces of it. So why are we here? Why are we forming an additional advisory capacities? We're engaging with our community. We want to hear from you. So we're going to try to do this in kind of three major components. Facilitate conversations like this. However, as we've already said, we do not want to have this just be the only time we engage. So there's definitely more opportunity. There's surveys. We're going to constantly have email chains going and those pieces, but we're going to do three major steps kind of more formally. Okay. So in this one, this is just the first meeting of hopefully 3 in this capacity. And during this particular phase, we're looking for some general, I like to call it gut checks, right? So we've talked a lot about it. We've the vision is definitely there. We've got everyone really excited to see this infrastructure go to place. This is the first of its kind in the public, being a public facility, right? Operated. So we'd like to hear from you about technical program and infrastructure needs. Gut check us. Yes, that's exactly. We're on the right track. Linda's done a great job of communicating what the community needs. We're going to review some operations models and missions and things like that. So we could use, again, your feedback on, are we on the right track? Does it look right? Does it look like something that we could participate in what ways? We want to get just more goals, maybe, and vision changes if we need it, and not really vision changes, but you know what I mean, tweaks. Is it something that we forgot? Is it something that we're not looking at in a different perspective? We want your feedback that way. So again, we want to keep farmers first. We want to keep FFC in business. So we need your help to kind of give us those pointers on how to do this in the best way possible. So again, 3 different ways to engage. Three different major steps in this particular formal engagement, but lots of ways to keep feedback and the information loop going. Next slide.
All right. So just to give you an idea of where we're envisioning the Food and Farming Center, we have selected McCollum Park, which is a Snohomish County park, just to the southeast of Everett on 128th Street. It's a county-owned property, and it's absolutely fantastic access from I-5. Depending on if you catch one traffic light or not, it could be anywhere between 1 and 5 minute drive from I-5. So easily accessible by farmers or operators from the north or south. And it has a community transit park and ride, which brings people from Linwood and Everett and all over Snohomish County and down into King County to this park hub It's also very close to a future light rail station and several light rail stations along the Everett Link line coming in the next handful of years. So it's great access for really everybody, operators, farmers, and the people coming here to shop at the market. So while it is a fantastic location for the Food and Farming Center, McCollum Park itself is very constrained. It's on a covered landfill. We've got wetlands speckled throughout the site. It's right along North Creek. And there are fault lines running through the site. So it's very heavily constrained. So we've been through an exercise recently with our consultants to help us identify the northwest corner of the site where the existing pool is. And that is the focus of the design efforts right now, putting the Food and Farming Center right there. And you're going to hear a little bit more from Mike and Jeffrey in a bit about that. And then really quickly on the project schedule. So we've been busy over the last couple of years on this project. We've hired several consultants who you've met right now. They're working us through the early stages of the design process. And we've completed site studies. We've secured several grants, and we're still looking for more grant opportunities. And we will continue the design process through 2025. If everything goes well, we'll be in construction in 2026 and 2027. And we are planning to open this facility after construction in late 2027. And with that, I'm going to hand this over to Mike.
Thanks, Rachel. Yeah, it is very exciting to get to the point where, first of all, many years to select McCollum Park before we became part of the team. And then within McCollum Park, our team's been studying different locations. And like Rachel said, it's a challenging site. I mean, it's an old landfill with a lot of different constraints. But we're excited to have selected this site. We think there's a lot of big advantages to it within the park. And also it keeps the park, the main assets of the park, functioning along as they do, and hopefully even improving and adding more activity there. So let me try to explain to you how we arrived at this location. First and foremost, I mean, it was one of the most disturbed areas of the site with the old swimming pool that's now to be demolished. And so it's always good to find a spot on a site that has a building that needs to be taken down, that had a corresponding parking lot that's seriously subsided, holds groundwater in puddles on it. And so there's two big flat areas out there that need to be addressed anyway. And so by placing the building there, we're going to take care of two birds with one stone in a way. Also, what we did is looked at the visibility of this project from 128th. We want a lot of people to know about this. People that don't normally come by here, we want them to see it and turn in. And so by locating up here in the northwest corner, right up against the front of 128th, and putting the farmers market right up in front there, it becomes highly visible. And people have two chances to make it into the site. First one is to make an immediate right into the existing access to the community transit parking lot. After they've seen the building, they can turn in there. We're going to use some traffic calming measures. So narrow the road after it gets past the access to the parking lot for community transit, raise it up a little bit so that pedestrians are safer in that area and can cross from the park and over to the farmers market and beyond into the North Creek Trail. So we're trying to utilize this location to not only be highly visible, take care of existing problems, and not disturb the rest of the park, but also to connect the park more directly to the creek. A huge asset on that site, the creek trail and that beautiful woods, and the restoration that's going on with the Northwest Stream Center on this site, and the work they're doing to put in potentially a new bridge. So we want to make sure and honor that and really connect people from the park across into the creek. So we're looking at different ways to do that. This is one way in which we split the farmers market, put it up to the front, and put the processing and warehouse a little bit south of that, along the existing access road there. So one advantage to this spot is that trucks that are part of the distribution, first of all, they're really close to I-5 corridors, and it's a great location for a quick getting right into the mainstream there and into distribution up and down the I-5 corridor. But in order to do that effectively for a big truck, the main access road into the park isn't such a great way for them, but there's that great signalized intersection at Dumas. Further to the east, you can see there on the site, the larger site plan to the left. They can come in Dumas in the existing access road and up and access the warehouse from the south. So we're kind of hoping to keep the truck traffic toward the south and less mixed with the public traffic up toward the north, where the community transit is and where the pedestrians are connecting across to the creek and enjoying the farmers market and all that. So we think that's a good way to kind of zone the site for better safety. And then the other opportunity here is down where there's the kind of green trapezoidal shape at the very bottom of that plan. That's the WSU extension buildings, which need to be taken down. They've lived their life well, and they've been determined to be ready to be removed. Those are a potential area for us to locate any, mitigation for putting a new building in this area up against near the stream. So we're probably going to be able to demolish those and kind of improve that area as well. So those are some of the big advantages of this site. It's visible, the access works out well. We can connect the park across to the creek, and the program fits really well here. It's almost as if the park kind of opened up a little fold there for this building to eventually land in at some point. So it's working out really well in that regard too. Let's move on, and Jeffrey's going to take you through the program in more detail beyond the site plan. Take it away, Jeffrey.
That's great. Thanks, Mike, for running through the site plan. Stepping back a little bit, the Food and Farming Center is envisioned to provide kind of an ecosystem of services in order to connect farmers and their produce with end markets. So this is the diagram that we put together to help kind of explain what the four components that Linda described earlier, how they work together. So this diagram, kind of from the left-hand side, working through to the right-hand side, is fresh or raw produce coming through the facility, which has a number of processing components, including, for example, a wash, freeze, dehydrate as options for processing goods. There is a commercial kitchen that can produce kind of aggregated goods or more ready-to-serve goods. So just some examples in the middle of what that could look like, from kind of low preparation or kind of low level of processing, just kind of cleaning and packaging, up to a higher level of processing, where you have kind of ready to eat food that could be then distributed. And then connecting those products with kind of a number of possible entries into different markets. So on site with the farmers market, potential to create value added goods and bring them back to the farmers, or back to the farm, where they could be self-distributed by the person growing the food, potentially going into bulk product markets to food producers, or wholesale market as well. So kind of a number of ways in to connect kind of the fresh produce to the market. So this is kind of curious on, for those people that are here, kind of how they think they could plug into this. So that'll be part of the discussion that we have later. But to you want to move to the next slide, Rachel, to look at the site plan and how we have started to lay this out on the site plan that Mike just walked through. We're using kind of this color coding diagram here. So we have our 4 main components where we have the farmers market, aggregation and distribution, the food processing, and then commercial kitchen. And we have prepared kind of an early diagram, which we call a fit plan, which is not necessarily a floor plan at this point, but it's kind of an early plan showing sizes of components and then how they could be connected and what adjacencies are necessary in order to share that out and get some initial feedback before we get too far in the process. As Mike described, kind of the access through the site that's connecting the park to the potential new bridge and kind of the stream area, that is envisioned as a festival street that could be parking at some points and could be a spill out for the farmers market or festival street in the future. Thanks, Mike. And then so to the north of that, we have the more public facing farmers market building that includes, well, actually, I'll go through a little bit more detail in the next slides for the farmers market. And then on the south side of that is the production, warehousing, and commercial kitchen building that has more of a private building, so more that's primarily staff and people working in the building that will be accessing that building. So kind of broken out into those 2 major accesses, kind of more public focus and then more production focused. So that southern building has the warehousing that includes cold and frozen storage, processing, kitchen, and then also some shared support spaces and offices in that building as well. So let's jump to the next plan there. Thank you. So we're going to walk through the programs kind of from the north side of the site to the south. So just to orient you, the Festival Street parking area is on the bottom of this diagram. And as this building is primarily open farmers market space, so it's envisioned for the year-round market to include 56 indoor stalls with the potential to spill out into the Festival Street and expand during times of good weather. It looks like that square footage that's listed there is a little bit off, copy and paste error. So that's about just under 10,000 square feet of open farmers market space. This building also has a demonstration kitchen so that there could be, yeah, thanks, Mike. So in red, the demonstration kitchen could be used during events for education and also kind of highlighting goods or products that people are producing in a very interactive way. There's what we have called out here is the wash and trash area that would include a washroom that farmers could use to show up early to the farmers market, wash their produce before they put it out on the stand. So that could be used to support the various farmers market stands. And then there's some support services here, so restrooms and storage as well planned for this building. And then we are going to move south to the other side of the Festival Street. So this entrance is anticipated as being kind of an at-grade entrance, where on the far south side of the building is our loading dock, so at a kind of a 4-foot truck bed height. So the north side of the building is going to be the primary staff entrance when this is in operation, and will also function to provide kind of a loading area for goods that are coming in smaller vans and trucks that do not need a loading dock. And so that those goods will be coming in or potentially going out on the north side of the building. So kind of close to this entrance, we have the shared shared support spaces, including changing rooms, lockers, bathrooms. There's a number of shared kind of on the north side of the building. There's 4 shared meeting spaces, and then a number 4 offices that are included in this space as well. And then moving on to the commercial kitchen program, which is in red. There are 2 commercial kitchens shown here. So the larger one of these will be set up as a production-oriented kitchen, potentially operated by a co-packer, but set up for kind of larger runs. And then we have a second smaller kitchen that could be operated either as a commissary kitchen or rented out to a specific tenant, or that could be a potential separate kitchen for any products that have allergen concerns, so separate production space for that smaller kitchen. Both of those have really flexible storage, food prep, and cook lines so that they can produce a whole range of goods out of those, so including ranges and ovens and skillets to support kind of a various number of products that are being produced. So we'd love to hear feedback on what you're thinking about producing.
Good job. Well, let's see.
And then in the blue, we have the cold storage, which includes frozen pallet storage and cold storage, or sorry, cold pallet storage, so frozen and refrigerated, and then a pick and pack area where goods can be aggregated and packed up prior to being shipped out. This is connected to the food warehouse that's on the bottom left. You can just see it in yellow here. So we can jump to the next slide and go through that one. So the warehouse, I guess, kind of stepping back again, on the south side of this building, on the bottom of the page, is where we're anticipating having the loading docks. So the warehouse has direct access to loading docks, and then there's additional loading docks that are supporting the rest of the facility, including the food processing, which is in the orange on the right-hand side. So the warehouse is just under 13,000 square feet with dry pallet storage, pick and pack, or kind of distribution area, and then a receiving area that are adjacent to loading docks on the south side. And then we have the food processing facility, which has a number of different food processing components, but it's next to the loading dock, has a receiving in with a wash and pack line being kind of the main backbone of the project, and then 2 larger rooms for a freezing line. We're anticipating an IQF, so individual quick freezer. And that is essentially, if you're not familiar with it, it's a freezer that it's kind of a conveyor belt freezer. So you can put products on it, run it through the conveyor belt, and they come out frozen on the other side. So it has ability to have really high quality frozen goods at kind of a larger capacity as well. Great, thanks for the feedback. I'm glad people are excited about IKF. And then another larger line that we have is a dehydrator. So that is set up to have a kind of a higher throughput dehydration line as well. And then we have, on the right-hand side, we have 5 additional processing rooms. That these ones are set up as plug and play, so they can be as flexible as possible, and then be set up for a number of different things that we're anticipating kind of day one. But love to get some feedback on this, see how what would be the highest use, and then design them in a way that if the needs change down the road, you have the flexibility to change out some equipment and change over the room to a different processing So we're currently looking at these rooms as a um, freeze drying room, a bottling room, a jarring canning room, and a fermentation room. And then there is additionally just a food processing, so kind of chopping, dicing, slicing room as well that would feed into potential other processes. So there's a lot of adjacencies here and benefits for having all these programs in the same building, where things that are going through the processing could then go to either dry storage or cold storage and then be distributed out of that. And then the commercial kitchen can pull from the items that are in inventory in dry or cold storage and then put their product in dry or cold storage for distribution. So a lot of synergies for having the program all in one building. And I think with that, I think that's my last slide. So Rachel, we were gonna break out into discussion rooms at this point.
Yeah, so I think Claire is gonna move us all into individual rooms so that we can go through the discussion questions. So I think, Claire, if you're ready to do that, we'll see everybody else in the breakout rooms, and the recording is gonna stop now.
Yes, I will do that. Just give me 1 second.
And there was a question there about plans for canning. We were looking at a jarring or canning line as one of the kind of plug and play rooms that would be included in the facility. So yeah, Dale, would be curious to know your specific needs once we get into the breakout room.
Hey, Rachel, I should probably know this, but are we coming back together after the discussion?
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll move back into this room for just a couple of quick closing
Okay,
remarks.
good. I've seen that get really confusing for us, so I thought I'd just say something about that. So everyone
Okay.
knows we'll be back together.
You should have an invite where you can go into the breakout room for a discussion and feedback on what was presented.
We have Linda back. Oh, there's Linda. Okay, Linda, you want to close this out?
Absolutely. Could barely hear you for some reason. Well, thank you so much for doing all that you were doing. The input that you're giving us is incredibly valuable, and we will continue to gather input as we go along. This is just the first one of many meetings that we'll be having, because we need to make sure that what we're building fits the needs for all the farmers and all the people that will be coming to the farmers market. So that's the number one impetus behind everything that we're doing. So we've got a survey out. You can see the QR code right there. And there's also a link to it. It's on SurveyMonkey. So we really want to continue to gather input. If you could jump on that survey and answer some questions, pass that survey along to other people that you know. We really need to get farmer input. That's a really important piece of it. When we come to the processing, the distribution, we need a lot of input there from the farmers. The commercial kitchen, the farmers market. How many people want to sell at the farmers market? What days do they want to sell? Those are all things that we need to start gathering. So if you could hop on that, share it with everybody, that would be great. So the survey is going to close on December 4th. So then we'll be able to put up the results after that for anybody that's interested. And what we're working on right now is the validation report. So where does it need to go? Do we have the space? Are the soils right for it? All of the information that we took today. And then our advisory group meetings, the next one that we're going to have, and hopefully you all can join us as well, will be in the spring of 25. And if you haven't noticed, we have a website up on the county site. You got the address is right there. And you've got one more slide, I think. It just says thank you. Your input is so important. And it's wonderful to see everybody here. And we appreciate you being here, and we really appreciate your feedback and look forward to sharing more information and learning more from you. Spread the word so we can get more information from more people. And we're done 2 minutes early.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks,
Good to see you.
everybody.
Thanks, Xander.